So, good morning, everyone. I'm Filippo. I'm a Bocconi student and the public relations lead of BAINSA, the Bocconi AI and Neuroscience Students Association. And today we have this big title, launching the new generations of AI leaders. We will try to explain to you, I hope briefly with the help of my colleagues, how we envision the new education process for tomorrow's AI leaders. And let me start with sort of an image that we always have in our minds while we do our activities, that of a revolution. We see AI not just as a technology, a product, or something that we should learn, but as a revolution that really invests and impacts horizontally each aspect of human activity. Picture the second industrial revolution, electricity, steel, everything that had to do with the new rise of engineering. In the education process in universities, academia, and all the companies, new mathematical tools and skills were required. And at that point, a new class of leaders emerged, that of inventors, of engineers and people who had both the technical skills, the ambition, and the creativity to explain to everyone the new potentiality of those technologies and innovations. So, with the help of Lorenzo and Andrea, the co-presidents of BAINSA, and Andrea, the head of the digital division, today we will tackle this very short schedule with our mission and vision, so the goal of launching AI leaders, what we think are the main issues in today's universities and education landscape and how we think we should fill the gaps, and then specifically what BAINSA is doing and the approach we are taking into solving these issues. Thank you again, and let me start. All right, so starting from the first point, Andrea, we can present the mission of BAINSA.
Yeah, okay. So what is our mission? Our mission is to take the most promising students from the bachelor, give them the best tools, the best environment, the best mentors, and so access to the cutting edge projects in AI research, and launch them into a professional and academic career. Yeah. And so why we want to do this? We think there is a gap, and I think Lorenzo will explain it better.
Okay. So let me get back to the title of this panel, Launching the New Generation of AI Leaders. So in order to structure our association, we started from this definition, trying to understand what is an AI leader for us. This is where everything started. So for us, an AI leader is someone who is able to bring a heavy, key impact to society adopting AI techniques. Following this assumption, we started thinking about how can someone adopt AI techniques to bring the largest possible impact to society. There are mainly two things that one can do, which can change the world with AI. That is through a company and through research. So the mission of our association is to form people that we call AI leaders who are able to succeed both in research as well as in entrepreneurship. To do this, our members are given a strong foundational academic skills together with a dynamic entrepreneurial spirit. Because we believe in the next decades, the people who are really going to change the world adopting AI are those who are able to combine these two fields, research and entrepreneurship. So this is where all our structure and our solutions come from. The idea of forming this type of AI leader, following this definition.
Okay, Lorenzo, this is a wonderful mission, something we all believe in, and it would be wonderful to have a new generation of innovators, but then again, and I'm asking this also to Andrea, we are Bocconi students, which is renowned for being one of the best schools of business and economics in Europe, not really AI specific. So why do you think a broader, more technical background would be beneficial, and why should Bocconi students take action actively in innovating the AI field?
Well, okay. Well, we have to say, and this referring to the first part of your question, that Bocconi undertaken a very radical change in the last 5 years in implementing new courses that integrates also very technical skills. In fact, our associates come either from the course of economics and computer science and mathematics for AI. So we really have very strong quantitative skills, even if we come from a very famous school of economics. Then, related to the second part, I think, and in this, the mission of BAINSA really matches the vision also of Bocconi and the reason why they implemented those courses, and is the fact that AI doesn't stand alone, but really, and we see this in the festival, that's the reason probably all of us are here, AI is affecting every sector and is reimagining a lot of operations in those sectors. And so I believe that even a manager, an executive, really have to know AI, have a very clear idea of what that is, and how to build upon of AI new business solutions, new operation, or improve existing ones.
Great. So, coming to the second point, we spoke about gaps and how we see some aspects of our education lacking into a traditional university path. So which are these issues, and which are the aspects that also society should take into consideration?
Okay, so, all right. Filling the gap that university education leaves in forming AI leaders, what does that mean? So, in this panel, we would like to bring to your attention 4 main gaps that our association is trying to fill in forming the new generation of people who will use AI to change the world, ultimately. If we consider the current state of university, especially in Italy, but I would say in Europe in a broader way, one of the main drawbacks comes from the difficulty in combining both a strong technical education together with important communication skills. You either find programs which form people, for example, in polytechnical schools, with great technical skills, but those people usually lack a part of communication and entrepreneurial spirit that is often found more in business schools. So we believe that, especially being at the center of these 2 trajectories with our programs that Andrea described before, which are in many ways at the intersection between a business school and a polytechnical school, we believe that the people we get to be part of our association are those who can combine these 2 spirits. And how do we make them learn how to combine these experiences is to giving them leadership opportunities starting from technical projects. We will dive deeper in the third point into what specifically BAINSA is doing, its current projects, divisions, and objectives to achieve this goal. But the first point is that the gap that we feel is in combining technical education with communication and entrepreneurial spirit. The second critique that I would make to university education in Italy and in Europe in a broader way comes from the selection process. People are usually selected solely based on one of these 2 categories. For example, many universities in Europe just select people based on a test, a quantitative test, which is for sure fundamental when it comes to selecting the right people, because quantitative skills are at the basis, of course, of introducing new students into the world of AI. But a person should be evaluated at 100 degrees with an holistic approach. And Andrea will for sure expand on this later, but I'm just mentioning that this is the second gap that we are trying to fill with our association, so selecting the right people. The third gap that we are filling comes from personalization of your plan of study. Most often in universities, you are given a fixed set of exams and courses that you have to take, and this defines your profile. So you're not able to personalize it following your own interests. This is what our association is doing, and we wish that other associations in other universities will do this as well in the future. With the projects that our members do, they are able to choose a specific area to dive into and build your own profile this way, kickstarting your career, be it in research, entrepreneurship, or corporate. The fourth gap that we are trying to fill, and the last one, after selecting the right people, combining technical and communication skills, is to give them the opportunity to dive into practical projects. Because technical education in Italy and in Europe as a whole is, in my opinion, too theoretical from many points of views. And what university associations like the Bocconi AI and Neuroscience Association in Bocconi should do is to gather people who are extremely talented in artificial intelligence and allowing them to obtain practical work and research experience. We are especially connected to the research side of this, and we are committed to giving our members the opportunity to do research opportunities from the bachelor, especially from the first years of bachelor, which is something that in Italy, and again, Europe as a whole, is not that common. People usually start doing research with the PhD or with their thesis, but this slows down time tremendously. And it's very important to do important experiences early on in your career, because the earlier you do, the more people you can differentiate yourself from and ultimately achieve a higher position and greater impact in your life with your career. So these are the 4 gaps that we will fill with BAINSA. And the next part of the panel is going to be mainly about discussing what BAINSA has done and what are our new objectives to be able to fill these gaps and fulfill our mission.
Okay, Lorenzo, and just a quick extra question before that, before describing BAINSA's approach. To get a bit more specific also in the corporate, from the corporate perspective, let's say, what is BAINSA doing with respect to another great issue that has been highlighted many times, at least in the panels we've been to and also here at this festival, which is that of the awareness of AI applications and risks, and the skepticism that is very frequent in the management and senior management, let's say, of big tech companies, but also not just tech companies, big companies as a whole, which would highly benefit from implementing AI solutions, but are, as I said, skeptical about it. And how is BAINSA trying to combat this phenomena and shaping new leaders, new managers, which are a bit more keen onto AI?
Yes, this perfectly matches what I said before. So the idea that to effectively be an AI leader, you really have to combine both managerial education together with a strong technical foundation. As to mention our approach, we're doing that matching not only research, so the opportunity to do research during the bachelor, which is fundamental and it is one of our core points. But the idea is to match this with opportunities to improve our way to communicate very difficult concepts. And we do it in 2 main ways. The first is we dedicate 1 day each week, our weekly meeting, in which 2 to 3 associates prepare a presentation on some very relevant paper in the history of AI and machine learning or neuroscience, and they explain it to all of our associates. And this is not only fundamental in the sense that all of the associates learn about that certain topic, but the crucial fact is that people, in trying to condense all the paper, which probably took months and months of research, they take that and they explain it to people that probably never read that paper or never read anything close to that topic that is being presented, to a single presentation. And they do it in 20 minutes. They do an implementation later. And this is not simplifying a concept and losing the idea. Instead, it's keeping the real core of the research and explaining to other people that are not aware of that topic. And this is not something that happens only on our weekly meetings, but this is something that is relevant, as we mentioned before, to managers, because a manager or an executive may not work directly on a project of research or some maybe new business opportunity, but they have to take the decision eventually. And in doing that, they need to be informed, but they can't, as said, work directly on the project. And so this communication needs to be effective, and to be an AI leader, we're working on this. Moreover, on top of our weekly meetings, we produce online content. And this is something that is usually undervalued because it may seem just an Instagram post explaining some technical thing, but may not sound cool, right? And especially may not sound as adding value to our associates. So my and our vision is that working on Canva is not just putting text and images on Canva, but it's taking an application of AI, very basic concept, and bring it to a broader public. And in doing this, we don't want to lose the information, we don't want to lose value, but we want to inform people on how technology works. Take, for example, I don't know, Spotify or Netflix. How do they work? Many people probably never thought about it. Or if you're a technical person, maybe you know everything about recommendation systems. And you could tell everything about recommendation system, from the type of algorithms or why on a certain application one algorithm is better to another. But we need to fill this gap, because there's people that have no idea about what a recommendation system is. And maybe researchers that don't know how to make money out of it. They don't know how to transform that knowledge into an effective product, changing the world. I mean, filling this gap, I won't mention this. There's a lot of surveys that are identifying that Spotify is chosen over Apple Music, not because of the music, because the music is the same. Actually, Apple Music probably has, on some type of music, more music. So why do not people move all to Apple Music? Because the machine learning models that are used from Spotify and their recommendation systems are considered better and better appreciated by the public. And so I think in order to be an effective leader and an effective manager and executive, we really have to fill this gap of knowing the technical knowledge, but also being able to communicate to everyone at different level of complexity. And this is what university is not doing, because at university, yes, we get a lot of foundation, but we're not supposed to tell it to our mother or to our brother. But this is what we do with our posts and with our presentation, and this is what makes us not only learn better the topic, because we really have to find what are the core elements that are crucial to understand the topic, but they can inform decision in a way more effective way.
Thank you. That was really spot on the question. So maybe the other Andrea can tell us a bit more about the specific BINDS approach and the type of research we're conducting, the partnerships we are doing also in research-wise.
Okay, yeah, sure. So we are a research association. We do projects with companies and universities. And there are mainly two types of projects we do. One is heavily focused on research, such as, for example, building eco-state networks with professors in Bocconi about neuroscience, but also a lot of projects that are applied to businesses. For example, building an automatic business report with Vedrai, or crypto forecasting models that predicts the prices of cryptocurrencies using sentiment analysis. But in all of these projects that we do, we want to have an applied results, keeping the explorative part very high. We care about the explorative part. It's what allows you to give value to something. And all of this is mentored by either some, for example, R&D directors in the companies or professors.
There's also one of the latest projects that I've heard of a prosthetic arm we're building.
With Oversonic, which, by the way, has also a stand here in Cannes. in the World AI Chemist Festival. Yes, we are building, we are 3D printing a prosthetic arm that we will control, that we are controlling it using EEG, electroencephalograms, signals that we process, and using time series analysis, we try to understand how to move a prosthetic arm, how to move a mechanical arm, and this hopefully will be useful for future developments in prosthetic technologies.
Okay, thank you. So then another aspect that is also really relevant in students' experience as a whole after the university path is how to get into the industries, how to get into a specific job career or path that is sort of, you know, the dream job. And in the way stands a whole sort of application process that is becoming more and more conspicuous and time-consuming. Is something that over really the last 5 years is dawning on students. And how is BAINSA trying to prepare future leaders? Maybe Lorenzo, you can answer this question.
Yes, a key point for someone who aims to bring a notable impact to the world with artificial intelligence is getting into having valuable work experience. So this is something we definitely help our members with, especially with internships to kickstart their career. So what BAINSA does most often is we invite people from companies which are interested in hiring our members. For example, we had events with software engineers from Bending Spoons and IBM very recently. And we discuss about what working in their company with a specific role would look like. And so they can have an overview of which type of job they want to do, in which sector. And this is for them to be able to take the right decision. On the other hand, what BAINSA also does is preparing them to be able to arrive to these places. And we have projects which give them the competencies that they can then showcase in interviews or in a workplace. But we also want to give them guidance. So one of the key points behind BAINSA is mentorship. And mentorship is at the basics of our association and is one of the reasons why many people join. Me in the first place. When I joined this association, one of the reasons, probably the main reason, together with research experience, that led me to BAINSA was the quality of the people who was already there. I knew I could get great advice, and then it ultimately happened from people who were in the association and were working for achieving goals that will become my goals in a matter of years. And having the opportunity to enjoy this guidance from more senior members is what really added a lot of value. And in relation to this, we are also carrying out collaborations with other mentorship associations, for example, like Lead the Future, which is an Italian reality, the strongest Italian network for STEM students, who aims to build a mentorship program to launch people in their career in STEM to ultimately get back to Italy with funding their own company and improving scientific advancement in their fields. So there is this close partnership with Lead the Future, which is given by the closeness of our mission, which is very similar to theirs.
Thank you. So we have discussed, let's say, the basic lines of our approach, not too technically, but a question that many people ask me in these days at the festival, as soon as they heard we are a no-profit and we are trying to do something from students for students, they were sort of surprised that as students we are devoting this much time not just to our personal career and development, but to helping our network and building a community. And this maybe also, in my opinion, is one of the ultimate and strongest goals of BAINSA, that of building a strong network of students, alumni, companies, and academia. Maybe, Andrea, you can expand a bit on this topic, or the other Andrea.
Okay, yeah. I believe that, especially in my experience, I did a summer internship in Grant Thornton, so I worked in consultancy on their digital division. I really believe that the focus should not exactly be on just being very technically prepared, but what really stood out, especially in the chats with my manager and my peers, was the fact that I was able, especially in, for example, preparing a call with clients, preparing a pitch, having an idea that could work not only technically, because that was not the point, but could catch their attention. That was the crucial part. And I mean, university is not answering to this problem because we're supposed to just be prepared technically. But that's not always the answer to the problems, especially when it comes to business. Because eventually you have to convince stakeholders, you have to convince them on your opinion. And so you really have to know the stuff, but also how to communicate it and to choose effectively, not only on a technological basis, but also on a business basis.
Okay, thank you. Then one last question that many people might have, also they've asked this many times at the festival, is how can Reality, a company or a lab, someone get in contact with BAINSA, and what are the opportunities for partnerships?
bainsa.bocconi@gmail.com. So contact us, please, if you want.
Yeah, and maybe more than that, what are the requirements for a company? What is like the perfect match for a company to partner with BAINSA?
Okay, so as mentioned before, we want to give our members the possibility to obtain practical work experience as well as research experience. So the perfect company who could partner with BAINSA is a company who's willing to take some of our members for an internship or some research lab which needs some research assistance. This is something we have done in the past and has contributed significantly to improving the quality of our network on one hand, and also to bring valuable results to the company that hired our members, and most of them received also an offer to keep working in their company after the end of their internship. For example, I can remember a couple of people going to Bending Spoons through our relationship, who then received an offer to work there full time, and they did for a period. But the key point is that it should be an exchange of knowledge and experience for our members in exchange to bringing impact and solving real-world problems that companies have. So the best profile is a research lab or a company who is willing to obtain some workforce of very talented people for an internship.
Perfect. I think this wraps at least the schedule we were trying to focus on. I would get more personal since we have some time, maybe sharing some experiences also of how we think from our perspectives as students that not only BAINSA but an association that really is at the heart of our career progression can help. And personally, like I'm one of those students that is not really only AI focused. I'm not pursuing just a technical curriculum, but a broader academic path, maybe also hinting towards finance and quantitative analysis. And we have many students and talents in the associations that sort of have this cross-disciplinary interest and might be not just pure AI researchers. Maybe you can share your experience personally and how BAINSA helped you, also in answering the questions and the demands that company and the job market is asking today.
Actually, in my experience, BAINSA was very important because I'm sorry, Filippo, but I don't follow your same path. I am like more on the technical side, especially as regards machine learning, and currently I believe by future in the short term will be in research of machine learning. And I interned last summer at the Italian Institute of Technology, and I remember that BindSA was fundamental because, first of all, because when I met the lab, the people in the lab, many of the topics they were working on were part of some projects that I did in BindSA previously, or some paper that I presented. First of all, so it's the experience that BindSA gave me to work hands-on on practical things that then I found exactly the same in the workplace I went to work on. Secondly, I was also quite lucky, I need to say, because next summer I will work in Amazon as a software engineer, and at the interview I met another guy who worked on similar things that we did in BindSA. So there was a close match in my experience overall in the work that was done in BindSA and what they did, be it in research or in a corporate level, on a day-to-day basis. So it was about competencies that BindSA gave me that allowed me to be a good fit for the company I wanted to intern at.
Yeah, same for me. I'm also a bit more technical as Lorenzo. And I also believe actually my future in the short term will be on research. It's extremely interesting. It's probably, I like the explorative part. And the skills I acquired through BindSA, and also not only the skills, but the broadness in the AI field, which is huge, is something that maybe from the outside you do not really get you cannot really get an understanding of how big and diverse it is. Helped me to land an internship at Polytechnic University of Marche, where I'm still collaborating with. I'm doing research in building a wearable device that will detect symptoms for Parkinson's disease people at home, and so to allow for personalized medicine. And I think BindSA was really useful. Really useful for the approach that gave me, other than the technical skills.
Well, I already mentioned my experience. Anyway, I worked in consultancy, and my focus will be more on the data science and machine learning side. But eventually, what I would like to do is to be a manager, take decision, and in this case, that's what I find the value of BindSA in. So the idea to combine technical knowledge to build upon the foundation the university gave us, and be an effective decision maker. So as you can see, and as Philip said, I take care of a specific division, and so in this case, I'm also further developing my management skills. And yeah, in the past, definitely BindSA helped me in combining the idea of taking decision in a way that could allow me not to be so technical, but to understand what were the core points to communicate to my stakeholders.
Okay, thank you guys. Like, one final question. We've been hearing many times among these panels from speakers that there's an open discussion as to whether Europe has the resources, both in terms of human capital and knowledge, technology, to be competitive. And European competitiveness is one of the hot topics, not just of this festival, but of the last year, the Draghi report and such. What do you think our universities and our students community can do, and what are BindSA's future projects in this respect?
If I can start, I think that Europe definitely has the human capital to be on par with everyone in the world, and also be actually the best competitor. But as we do with our mission and with our alignment with communities such as Lead the Future, there is a need for a cultural shift. We need to allow for people, for the best people that lives in our country and in the European Union, to remain, to find opportunities within the borders, not needing to go out, not needing to be forced to find something elsewhere. And so we strive for talent retention and building a community in Italy that can, or in Europe, that can last long and can allows people to fast track their career still within the borders. I think it's fundamental, and will be fundamental actually will be the crucial point of the future of our country.
Just saying my 2 cents. I believe that the reason why we feel a gap also in human capital between US and Europe can be based on how education happens. We are really prepared on a technical side, but usually there's not so many occasions to build entrepreneurship. And feeling as an association, try to imitate in some way what happens in the United States, to put centrality on this side, to put the idea of being a decision maker, not as a side task, but as a central part, together with developing technical skills.
I need to say you stole my words, the words from my mouth, Andrea, but yeah, when we discussed about how to fill the gap, this is also a gap that goes across the Atlantic in some sense. So we find a lot of inspiration from American universities in filling this gap, and we believe that keep going on this road and trying to convince other realities like BAINSA or like Lead the Future to join this process, there is a possibility to significantly increase the quality of talent retention in the European Union area. And this is what BAINSA is about to do in the next few years by establishing a mentorship program. This is one of our goals, to be able to establish some kind of legacy of people who have that same goal and have that same education that they received through BAINSA and through university, as well as connecting with other realities around Europe to increase the coverage of this goal. So just to conclude this talk, we would like to thank all of you for being here, and we hope that we were able to inspire with our mission, and that we can all contribute to the goal of keeping the best AI talents in our area and making them grow, to let them achieve great social impact and ultimately make the world a better place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lorenzo. This was really a nice ending to the talk. I think we have still enough time to take some questions. So, yeah.
I have one question, please. First of all, big kudos, because you are the best session I've seen so far in the forum. So really, big kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are really supporting what we need. I've done my studies 15 years ago, and yeah, the mindset was maybe clearly not that. It's really funny. You just have to, I will make it a little bit simpler, but know a little bit of JavaScript and know how to speak, and yeah, you have a big road ahead. So, big thanks. My question to you, because I guess many business schools, people that are trying to do more or less what you are trying to achieve. So, do you have a kind of a network of business schools? How different? What's your differentiator? How much advanced are you in the preparation of the business schools in France and Europe?
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned before that one of our goals in the future is to expand this mission with other associations in different universities, and we are already doing it. We establish relationships with other realities, especially through projects. For example, the project of the prosthetic arm that Andrea mentioned before is in collaboration with other universities, for example, San Raffaele in Milan, but also a professor in the United States, as well as other projects and events that we carry out with other European institutions that have the same goal as ours. Our partnership with Lead the Future comes in this same context. So as an answer to your question, I would say yes, and we establish this connection by organizing events or carrying out projects in collaboration with these other institutions who share our own mission.
Maybe you can, yeah.
First of all, congratulations for your initiative. I well understood your scope. I agree with you. But my question is, what about philosophy? Because you will be the leader of the future. You explain us the importance of a practical work, so your goal is to establish relationship with company, but you will be the leader of the future in the AI and in other systems, so your work influence the world of the future. So I would like to know what about philosophy, and I would like to know also if your association is open to Bocconi student only, or also to students all from all their university from Italy. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. This is actually really spot on. I was having a conversation right on this topic with Giovanni Landi, the general manager of AlphaRing, who hosted a panel also yesterday here. He graduated in philosophy, actually, and he's now working in the AI field. And we were discussing how also ethical risks should be immediately understood and addressed by students who are approaching AI. You should grow with a mindset, as you said, that really entails also protection of our nature as humans and our reasoning in philosophical terms. And from my perspective, I've never been really a STEM student before joining university. I did classical studies in high school. I studied philosophy, I studied ancient Latin, Greek, and all the thoughts of people who came long before AI and long before these kinds of technology. And what I ended up concluding, even though I'm still learning, of course, we're all students, is that the perfect way to get philosophy in the talk in the AI area is really that of gathering together with different age range, different perspectives, different needs also, and perceptions of the risks. Of course, younger generations might be a bit more risk-loving, less risk-averse, let's say, and embark on big projects with the mind free of any regulatory pressures. And this is something that really is one of the key drivers of talents escaping from Europe and joining countries which have less regulation, of course. But from our perspective, philosophy, of course, is something we try to include in all our speeches. We had recently also a talk with software engineers who were discussing how in their respective industries, we had a software engineer from a defense company who is applying AI to defense machines, so also national defense and aero defense drones and such. And of course, one should really be careful when decisions are not really validated by human thought. One last thing, and then on top of that, of course, in Bocconi, this issue is really something that is being taken account of. And in our courses, in our programs, we also have some law courses which include all a part about ethics and ethics of AI. So it's something that already university are starting to implement. Is not really the key issue here, I think, with university education, because it's, at least in Europe, you know, the United States innovate and China replicates and we regulate. So also European universities have taken this approach to AI education. They imported it with really high attention towards ethics. Our role here, I think, is giving hands-on approach and experience to students rather than more theoretical knowledge. But of course, we follow ethics and philosophy while doing so. Andrea?
Yeah, if I can add my 2 cents, I believe that philosophy and humanitarian culture is extremely important. You know, the technical skills are actually more how you do something. The reason you do something it's in the philosophy and in an ethical core of it, of your values. And so if we want to build a future where humans can be actually, can live well, we need to develop a human-centric approach to what we do and to AI. And this cannot be done after the development because there are financial interests, there are economical interests. And so it is extremely important also for us to have a deep value and human-centered value in the development of all the AI models. And not only this, in the development of the culture of our associates and of the culture more broadly of the university students, which will be the future.
Okay, we might go with the next question.
Yeah. First, I want to make you a big compliment. Your presentation is so perfect. And it's very difficult in Europe to start a revolutionary project like yours. And I come from engineering, microelectronics, and it was the same problems in Europe. We have engineers, you give them a paper, they give you the solution, and therefore they get a cheeseburger. The American engineers are business engineers, and this is what you try to combine. Not either business or AI, and you need both, and you have to express yourself, and you so much laughing. The Americans, you say, invented the Chinese credit and regulations. That's easily the case. Just the Vice President Vance said, we not regulate RE, and the Europeans will overregulate. And I give really a strong warning not to overload with philosophy. You cannot solve our problems, what we have ourselves. You are not the police. Yeah? No. But I propose some practical things that could help the people to get more confidence. For example, me joining this conference, I understood the first time what is an AI agent. I didn't know that, so I feel better. So there are two programs. Can we not create a local-based, low-tech company to get all the people what is out of business with IE into business? Yeah, that would be possible. The other is, why not using an AI program to repair the planet, how to recreate the jet stream, how to recreate the Gulf Stream. All these things the Americans do not do. But this is for me practical philosophy. But I must make you, if your program could be Europe-wide, there would be a chance for AI. This is a big compliment.
And on that line, we also have to thank, we didn't mention this, but each year we come here to the YHF and we bring not just the board of the association, but we wanted to give also a big applause to the 20 members of BAINSA who are now here at the festival. Some of them are in the audience. And
with our beautiful T-shirts.
Yeah. And of course, as you said, a big part of our mission and the education process we envision for AI students is that of getting to know more and more about our field from experts. And this is the reason why we always bring our best members to this festival to learn as much as they can, network, and apply that practical philosophy you were mentioning. So we can take another question. I think we have time, yes? Yep. We have many? Okay.
Yeah, again, congratulations, amazing. You belong to the emerging category of leaders. I'm belonging to the dying category of leaders. Okay? As chairman and CEO of a startup developing Earth Valve, your vision is very interesting. I have 3 questions for each of you. First question. What do you think that AI could help emerging leaders to solve today that we have not been as dying leaders to solve? Second question, in the wake of the lady question, you belong to a country, Italy, okay, which has invented the slow food mindset. How do you integrate this green mindset in your philosophy as future leaders? And thirdly, and I'm not expecting there an answer, but I will come to your booth, You many times said you want to change the world. In which respect do you want to change the world? I contributed to build.
Okay, so I think there's a lot of stuff to say here, but I will try to be...
Another panel.
Yeah, exactly. I will try to be as brief as possible. As regards the last question, which was about what you mean by changing the world, more specifically on which area. We believe, and I personally believe, that whenever there is a new technology which has a disruptive potential, this is one of the key points in history when this technology can either be adopted for the good or it can be adopted for the bad, but for sure it will lead to tremendous changes. And so connecting also with what we said before about philosophy and making an ethical use about AI, we believe that giving people the right skill set to be able to understand the potential of this technology and be able to develop it and deploy it for the good is one of the most impactful things one can do to drive future generations and try to lead from the generation mentioned previously to the future one into and using AI as a bridge from one to another by forming people with the right skill set and the right ethical concerns for, again, improving this world.
Maybe I'll answer the slow food Italian Italian approach. Unfortunately, in this peculiar time we live in, you cannot be slow. You have to live a fast life, very fast life. AI is really having an exponential, it's cutting exponentially the time for new scientific discoveries, for new processes. Is increasing the efficiency of any process in a way that it's beyond what we could imagine even 1 year ago. Like if you look at even generative models 1 year ago, it's totally different. So and this will keep increasing and keep getting better. So yeah, you have to be fast. You have to be fast and adapt. This is my 2 cents.
And then so I might answer the first question about let's say bridging between the old generations of senior management and of course who built the world that actually then produced AI and our generation. From my experience, this summer I interned in an asset management firm, Pictet, a Swiss firm, where the entire office was made up of just people, let's say, above 45, above 50, and 2 interns. We were just the 2 of us doing some of the machine learning analysis, and we were the only ones who actually understood how the models worked, not just from a technical point of view. Of course, that takes a sort of training that goes beyond just being aware, but we were also the only ones who leveraged their potential with awareness. No decisions were allowed from artificial systems. Every input that machine learning algorithms were able to give was treated just as consulency, just as a piece of advice. And I think this is really explicative of the approach that senior management is nowadays taking in also really developed and big companies like asset management firms who should really welcome the new technologies and take advantage of them to improve and position themselves as best as they can on the industry. We have to leave the perspective of solely being advised by systems and not trusting them. Just as when cars were invented, people were afraid of riding them, or trains were afraid of stepping onto trains and were treating these just as something fun or a curiosity. We should really understand that it is now inevitable that artificial intelligence systems and machine learning agents and decisions are something we have to deal with. And so we are better understanding them as soon as we can, and not fear them as if they might steal our jobs. This is really the best advice I can give to all the management of big companies.
Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, time is up. We have to go, but we would like to chat with you even after.
Yeah, we will answer all our questions.
Banner. Yes,
we have time now. And thank you.
Thank you for your attention.